Welcome to day 57. 0 day in Franklin. As you can see, it's nice and sunny, no rain all day long. But the forecast said there was going to be rain, so I decided to not start the trail until tomorrow. So that's the way it goes always, right? Anyway, it's still supposed to get cold tonight. I'm not crazy about that. So probably a good thing I postponed it for one more day. So I'm just walking on this path here. After this walk, I'm gonna go down to the Lazy Hiker Brewery, get some lunch, and just kind of walk around the downtown area for a while. Enjoy this last day of non-trail activities. I can hear the birds. Okay, I guess we'll get into the band of the day. This is a special one. This was supposed to be for when I got back on trail, but there's another cool band that I have for tomorrow. So today's band that was supposed to kick off the trail is Johnny Thunders. And you're like, who? Who's that? Well, Johnny Thunders, he was in a band called the New York Dolls back in the early 70s. And then he, after that band dissolved, he went solo along with the drummer, and they formed Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers. And at the time, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers were starting out around the same time. So I don't know, they just called themselves the Heartbreakers. So just for confusion, they changed it to Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers. But I mainly know Johnny Thunders when he was solo. I know this is gonna be dragged out, but this is an important story. So back when I just graduated high school, there was a high school band called the Resistors, and they did all these songs, and that's how I got to know the Ramones, because roughly half of their set were all Ramones songs. So about 3 years after the fact, I ran into the drummer at a bar, and I'm like quizzing him. Oh, who sang that song? Who sang that song? You know, so he said Johnny Thunders sang this one, that, and he actually said, well, I'm not a big fan of Johnny Thunders. Well, anyway, so that's how I found out about him. And so I was in the Navy, I was home from the Navy, and then I went back to, it was Berkeley, California area, Oakland, where my ship was. Alameda was actually a city. But I went to a record store, I started buying the cassettes, here and there. Put them in my cassette Walkman, remember those? Anyway, so that's how I got into Johnny Thunders. And that was like my punk rock phase. But even after I got out of the Navy, and then I started buying CDs of him. And I would say from 1988 to about 92, I would put him at the top of all my bands at that time, because that's what I listened to. Very inspired. I actually got to see him in concert in Milwaukee, 1989. I had to work that night, but there was something going on with the opening bands. They had problems with getting their equipment there or something, but it delayed the show so much. And I had I worked the midnight shift at the time, and I had pre-planned this. I said, in case I'm running late, and it was going to be Labor Day the next night or next morning, so I had it arranged where it didn't really matter when I went in as long as I did my 8 hours. I think I actually did 10 that day, but so it wasn't really like a normal schedule, so it wasn't required that I had to be there at a certain time. I just told them that I'll be there when I get there, which ended up being about 3:30 in the morning, so or later maybe. Anyway, so then Johnny did not take the stage until 1 o'clock in the morning, and he played for only 45 minutes because of bar time, and they had to do a short set. And he said, well, we'll be back in 3 days to do another show, and for half price, which was $5. It was $10 admission for this one. I wasn't able to go to that, but I did find a recording. So anyway, let's try to wrap this up. I got one more part of this. So anyway, so I listened to Johnny Thunders a lot. Well, anyway, so when I reformed the band Sedated, roughly 4 years after we formed, I was contacted by somebody that would do an annual Johnny Thunders tribute show in Kenosha. And a previous video I put out was I was showing some of the bars that we played at. And so anyway, we played with him Dr. Destruction is the person that would organize this. And we play so many shows with them. So anyway, let's see. 2014 through 2018. So 5 years in a row we play with them. And then tomorrow's band has a tie-in to this. So then another band saw us play and like, oh, you guys are great, man. Can you play with us sometime? I won't tell you what tribute band they are until tomorrow. And so we ended up doing about, 6 or 7 shows through the years. And not only did we do that tribute band, and the same tribute band that was another band we played with a couple times too. But you'll find out tomorrow, a surprise. So anyway, I had to turn around, there's people coming. So anyway, I'm walking back anyway so I can get some lunch, right? So, yeah, Johnny, he passed away in 91. So that's why he did the tribute. And it was like 20 plus years going on. And I think it was roughly the 25th anniversary that we did our last one together. In fact, he contacted me while I was on trail. Hey, what's up? It's a long time no see, whatever. And he was hinting about getting something together. And I was like, yeah, I can't make it, But that'd be cool to restart that up. So, God, there was one more thing I wanted to say about that. So yeah, he passed away. He has a drug overdose, 38 years old. It's sad. But yeah, it really affected me because I found out through a magazine. There was no internet. So it was probably a few weeks after the fact. That's how I found out. And then I went to the library to find the New York Times because he was from New York, and I found the obituary and everything. So yeah, growing up young, punk rock, that was a very sad moment for me. Anyway, so the songs are, okay, it's a live version of Born to Lose off the Live at the Lyceum soundtrack or album from 1984. And quick pause, there was a jogger that was coming up. So anyway, the honorable mention song is a Rarity song that he did later, probably around 90. I got to tell you about that live show real quick. But anyway, the song is Society Makes Me Sad. So yeah, I went to the show and I recorded it off my Walkman with a cassette. I was literally sitting on the stage, and the stage is about 2 feet high. And it was just a bar. I mean, they closed down. It was the Odd Rock Cafe. And there was probably 50 people there, if that. But that's the way, that was, I would say that was my top concert ever. I mean, I went to a lot of Kiss concerts, but just that intimate thing, the general admission, hardly anybody there, and just sit wherever you want. In fact, waiting on those bands, I remember I was tired already before the thing even started. I was resting my head on the table when there was only about 10 people there, trying to catch a little nap or whatever. But yeah, so I was tired driving back, and that was just a cool show. So yeah, I was pretty drawn out here, but now you know about Johnny Thunders. So anyway, oh yeah, might as well throw this in there. So I think it was the following year. Well, then the drummer in his band died. That he was in the New York Dolls, and so that was January of '92. And so July of '92, which would have been the 500th anniversary. Of when Columbus discovered America. I was in New York City, and went to the gravesite, and it took a while to find it, but we found both of them, Johnny and that. So yeah. Anyway, so that's Johnny Thunders. I'm going to the Lazy Hiker. Okay, I'm at the town square with a gazebo, and I was here yesterday. I noticed they moved the sign to the brick wall. It was out on the grass, right at the corner there, but they moved it. Now I know why they moved it, because they got farmers market going on. So it was near that stoplight over there. That's where it's always been. So I did sign it. Let's see if I can find it. Where am I? It's right there. There it is. So yeah. So yesterday I was getting some photos around the town, and And I was so lucky to find the blooming rhododendrons, because when I was driving through the Smokies, they weren't blooming yet. I mean, it could be a different species. And then this little garden here, I'll take it back there real quick. So one of the reasons I wanted to come down here was to see the blooming of the mountain laurels. But they don't bloom until late May, early June. But since they're probably further south, they're blooming. So this is what it really looks like. So I was doing close-ups because when I researched it, I thought they're like petunias, but I was just doing close-ups. So that's what they look like. So then, initially when I was back home, I gave up on the trail, and I wanted to go to Damascus. That's where they have trail days in the middle of May. And then I was going to go to that and then go along the Blue Ridge Parkway and look for the mountain laurels. And I thought, well, I can do both. I'll get back on trail and I'm not going to go to trail days. I'm going to go next year, though. But then I could see the blooms. And then I remember the rhododendrons, so that's what I'm doing. So I got to see them already. So I'm going to show a bunch of pictures that I took yesterday at the end of this video. There it is, the Lazy Hiker Brewing Company. So I was actually here yesterday to have dinner. So what you do is there's like a food truck there. You order from there your food, and then they bring it inside for you. But I think yesterday I just had a soda. I'm getting a beer. So I can kick this thing off for tomorrow. Here's the Lazy Hikers banner. There's me. Here is Prepper. He had to get off trail about 10 days ago. He made it 700 miles. His knees were shot. And the other hiker is following is, where did she go? I can't find it now. Oh, right there. She's still on trail, day 63 today. And the other hiker I was following on YouTube, he dropped out after 30 miles. He twisted his ankle really bad. So there it is. Once again, here's that sideways map of the trail at the Lazy Hiker. Some boots up there. Or some more boots. So yeah, here's where I started, that red line. I am right before the Standing Indian, so I got quite a ways to go. Okay, this is a chart of all the hikers that have left since January 1st. That red line on the right represents 50 hikers. So each darker vertical line is a series of 5 hikers. As you can see, January 1st was a popular start date. It always is. And after that, not too many leave in January because it's too cold. And then as we look to the second part of January, it really doesn't pick up too much. Still too cold. I would never leave in January. And then I was going to do February, but that's also cold. But as you can see, February 1st, it's a big date. February 14th, another big day. And it's starting to pick up. And as we get into the second part of February, it starts to really pick up. So that's called like the bubble. As it gets more and more, that's the peak of the bubble. And then now we're in March. If you look at March 7th, at that time, that's when I left. That was actually the most people that left so far. And then after that, of course, it got passed up because March is a very, very high peak month for hikers to leave. And now we are entering April, and it's still, the first part of April is still a lot of hikers. And then as April continues on, it really tapers off quite a bit. And so, as you can see, not many towards the very end of April. just a handful. And then we're going into May, and I will be leaving May 3rd. Plus, I got a head start on these hikers, so it won't be too crowded when I'm out there. And then we will take another look at towards the end of May. People still got to register the hike, but it looks like this will be pretty much it. So that's about it.